This is Fresh Air. I'm Tonya Mosley, and my guest today is veteran comedian Wanda Sykes. She has a new comedy special on Netflix titled I'm an Entertainer, where she takes on everything from raising teenagers with her French wife to the dilemmas of living in a hyper-charged political climate. I'm an Entertainer follows Wanda Sykes' 2019 Emmy-nominated Netflix comedy special, Not Normal. Sykes got her first big break opening for Chris Rock in the 90s, and since then, she's been nominated for 14 Primetime Emmys, with a win for Outstanding Writing for a Variety or Music or Program for her work on The Chris Rock Show. Sykes has starred in dozens of television shows and films, including Curb Your Enthusiasm, The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, Blackish, and Mel Brooks's History of the World Part 2. Some of her films include Pootie Tang, Monster-in-Law, and Ugly Dolls. Sykes currently stars in and is the executive producer of the Netflix show The Upshaws. And last year, Sykes co-hosted the Academy Awards with Regina Hall and Amy Schumer. And this year, she guest-hosted Comedy Central's The Daily Show. Sykes' new Netflix special, I'm an Entertainer, debuts this week. And Wanda Sykes, welcome to Fresh Air again.
Why, thank you. Nice to be here. Well, that Pootie Tang just never goes away, huh?
Right. I mean, and you know, you always have to say Pootie Tang. You got to do a little accent to it.
I think that's why it always ends up in my intro, because people just like saying Pootie Tang.
Well, we're in an interesting time right now because I know production for the Upshaws has been canceled for now or postponed for now because
we are on a very long hiatus.
Yes, because of the Writers Guild of America labor union strike. I saw your tweet where you posted a photo of yourself from the last writers' strike. I think it was 2007, and your caption said, "Here we go again."
Yep.
Yeah. I know the industry has changed somewhat since 2007, but what are your biggest concerns right now for the writers and for the industry?
Basically, the survival of our craft, of what we do. Right now, like a staff writer, there's no way they can survive unless they have another job, something to supplement their income, and also it's about thinking about the future. It's not just us, demanding that the streamers pay residuals, but it's also just the way we're doing business now is not beneficial to this career, sustaining. And we need those staff writers. Like we have at least Regina Hicks and I, who's also the co-showrunner, and creator of the Upshaws. We intentionally was like, okay, look, we want some babies in the room, staff writers. We want newbies, because that's how they learn, and that's and just nothing like a better feeling than watching them grow. Like I've seen our staff writers get better each season, and and it's like, okay, yeah, they're catching on, they're getting it, and it's on the job training.
Your new special, I'm an Entertainer, was filmed in Philadelphia, and it was the first time you'd been back out on a live show circuit since the start of the pandemic. You actually joked that catching COVID and quarantining in the guest room kind of wasn't so bad. Let's listen.
First 2 days were a little rough. I'm isolating in the guest bedroom, so my wife couldn't bother me, my kids couldn't bother me. So on that third day, I was like, how can I get some of that long COVID? This agrees with me. This feels like me time.
That was a clip from Wanda Sykes' new Netflix special, I'm an Entertainer. Wanda, do you miss that me time?
Oh my God, I do. I really do. Like I was telling you, this week I've been suffering with allergies, just feverish and cough that just won't stop, and achy. So I took a test, and I wouldn't have been mad if it came up positive, to be honest with you.
Peace, family. I got to go in this little guest room again.
I would have been, and even this morning I knew I was coming here. I was like, let me take another test just to make sure. And it's not that I didn't want to come here and do this, but my wife was asking me like, so what are you planning on making for dinner? And my daughter had a thing at school, a little award ceremony I had to go to. And again, I'm just looking at that little COVID machine going, I won't be mad. I won't be mad if it's positive.
But see, do you feel like we can't, like any other illness, it's like you still got to go on with life. COVID is the only one where you can actually rest.
Right. Yeah. COVID shuts everything down. You just tell people, you got COVID, it's over. It's a wrap. Right. They got to leave you alone.
Yeah.
It's you're like safe. You're on home base. You're safe. They can't mess with you.
You have twins.
Yes.
Are they 13 years old now?
They're 14 now.
14 now. Do they think you're funny? Because that's a hard age.
They do. My son thinks I'm really funny. My daughter, she's a 14-year-old girl. She just doesn't care.
In the special, I think you said something like she's like Beyonce in front of you guys as you're walking down the street. Yeah.
But she's super smart, and she's not going to give it up. That's what it is. She's a little hard. She's harder to impress.
In the special, I'm an Entertainer, you talk a little about what it's like to raise white children. You joke about it. Mm-hmm. I want to play a clip of a story you tell when your son, Lucas, asked for a snake. Let's listen.
My son, Lucas, he's been begging me for a snake. Yeah, that's for years. For years, a snake, yeah. Mommy Boo, can I please have a snake? Yeah, they still call me Mommy Boo because they're racist, And I'm like, Lucas, you're not getting a snake. Every Christmas, Mommy, every birthday, can I have a snake? And I finally just snapped. I was like, look, Lucas, you're not getting a snake. And he's like, why? I said, because I'm just not going to let you be that white. And then I had to break it down for him. I said, look, man, you have a black mother, okay? Black women just don't tolerate stupid. I mean, getting a snake and bringing it in the house and calling it a pet, that's dumb. That's just dumb. Oh, know what else you're not gonna do? Extreme sports. You can forget about that. I ain't buying you a bike and then you up there flipping all up in the air. And that's not the way that bike is supposed to be ridden. You ain't doing that.
That's a clip from the Wanda Sykes Netflix comedy special, I'm an Entertainer. Wanda, there's a part in the special where you also joke that in your will you wrote that they're going to have to change their names to black names in order to get an inheritance.
Rashad and LaQuisha.
LaQuisha. Yeah, name your 13-year-old LaQuisha. Then I want to see what happens with her. Do you joke with them about this kind of stuff at home? Do you say this kind of stuff?
Not really. Honestly, yeah, we don't. I think the stage for me is my therapy session. It's where I can talk about it, But at home, no, we don't. We're just the family at home.
You've mentioned that you're raising them in the way that you were raised, in the hopes that maybe they're aware of their white privilege. How do you do that? Yeah,
I mean, because I don't know any other way to raise them. I don't know if white people raise their kids saying, now look, you can cut the line, right? I don't know, what I'm saying? I don't know is there a white handbook where, what I'm saying? It's like the talk where, black parents give their kids about when you get pulled over from the police.
Yeah.
Pulled over by the police, how to behave. It's like I'm about to give my kids that talk, and I go, wait a minute, I don't need to do this. Mm-hmm. They're white. Mm-hmm. I could tell Olivia, hey, if the cops pull you over, just start crying. They'll let you go. You're white. You're a beautiful young white girl. Just cry, and they'll let you go. At least that's what I think. That's the way it works. In
this latest special, you mentioned how you knew you were gay from the time you were in third grade, mm-hmm. but you didn't come out to your parents until you were 40. How did you come out to them?
I think I was having surgery, and I think they were coming to be with me for the surgery, and I just had to say, look, my roommate is not my roommate. Yeah.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Was this when you were getting your uterine fibroid surgery?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Did they have an inkling?
You would think so, but No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard you lament, especially right after you got married.
Uterine fibroid surgery. I'm going to have to check my HIPAA. How'd you get that information?
Because you talked about it. I would not bring up anything you didn't talk about already.
Oh, boy. Next thing is talk about my teeth cleaning.
No, right.
I do have a... Okay.
You got one coming up. Yeah. But I've heard you lament, especially right after you got married, that you were upset by the perception that Black people were anti-gay. Have you felt a shift in that narrative at all since you got married? I know that was during Proposition 8. That was like during that big time, and there was a lot of news pieces about Black people not being in favor of it. You know, how have you felt that shift or not?
Oh, huge.
Yeah,
huge shift. And I think it starts with the church. You see, the church has become more accepted, and more tolerant, and yeah, I mean, I just think it's you just see it. Just walking down the streets and stuff, I see, I watched it, I felt it. I was like, wow, this is getting better, just the support and love from the community. I remember the first time, I was in CBS and this older Black woman walks up to me. She's like, Wanda. And I was like, oh boy, what is she going to say? She said, I want to talk to you. And I was like, oh gosh, she's going to hit me with this stuff. And she's like, how's your family doing? How's those kids? And it's like, oh, wow. I mean, I literally was like tears in my eyes walking to my car out of there. I remember that, and just like little things like that just kept happening.
I haven't heard the term cancel culture lately, but one thing that we do see continually happen is comedians are scrutinized and analyzed a lot more. I'm just wondering, what's accepted to joke about seems to be this moving target. And is that something that you grapple with or worry about as a comedian?
I don't think about it. I honestly don't think about it. To me, the whole cancel culture thing and, oh my gosh, somebody said something about my show she's so woke. Oh my God. And like it was an insult. I'm like, when you call people woke, you're not insulting them.
Right.
We don't care. You're not insulting us. We're evolving. We're being better. We're trying to, make the world better. We're trying to hold this country accountable. I mean, but they're like it's, they're well, like we will burn like like it's some like really, it's so childish, and it's mainly people are pissed because they can't be racist, and they can't be bigots and they can't be prejudiced, and they're upset about that. The people who are upset are people who feel like things are being taken away from them, where there's the people on the other end. We're like, we want equality. We want our rights, and so it's just funny how they think like, oh man, you can't say this anymore because they'll cancel you. It's like you can say anything you want to say. There's nothing stopping you from saying whatever the hell you want to say, but you just have to understand that there's repercussions. Some people are gonna like it, some people that don't like it. Just because people don't like what you say, it doesn't mean they're canceling you. That just means they don't want to hear it. They're evolving.
You joke a lot about your wife, who is French. I find it so funny because you always fall into this accent and like you're from the 1950s holding a cigarette, like how they hold those cigarettes,
right. And she doesn't even smoke. That's just how
I
portray.
Serious?
No, she doesn't smoke. That's just like, she goes, will you just say I don't smoke, please? I'm like, oh, it's kind of funny though, But she loves it. She loves that I talk about her,
You married in 2008. How did you meet?
We met Fire Island, New York, on our way to Cherry Grove on the ferry. Well, I saw her on the ferry, but then we met later. I think like the next day on the island. Yeah.
You saw her and you knew it was something there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like I knew. I heard something. And I'm gonna sound crazy here, but honestly, I heard the voice of my dead therapist, and this was the therapist that I only spoke with her on the phone. She only did
like phone therapy.
Phone therapy. She only did phone therapy. So I never saw it. I have no idea what she looked like or anything. And she had passed, like, I'm gonna say at least 6 months or something like that. And I was on the ferry and I looked back and I saw this woman with a talking to a woman holding a baby, and she was playing with this baby. So I thought they were together. I thought it was a family. I thought it was a family. And something said, "Hey, Wanda, that's what you need." And I was like, "You're dead. What the hell? Why are you?"
Wow.
Yeah.
You all visit France,
yes,
since your wife is French.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a difference, or can you describe the difference between like French comedy and American comedy? Have you followed it, or do you see it? Do you see those differences in what they consider funny and what you would consider funny?
Yeah, my wife she's like, "You don't get my jokes," and I was like, "No, I laugh at you a lot, but it might not be when you're trying to be funny, but she makes me laugh, but when she's trying to be funny and her jokes, I don't get."
What kind of jokes?
I don't understand them. I really don't. I don't. It's sarcasm, but without the funny. So when it's sarcasm without the funny, then it's just not mean, but it's
snarky or rude a little bit. Does it come off that way?
Well, okay. Sarcasm without the funny, now it sounds believable. You know what I'm saying? And that's like, "Oh, wait, you really did that?" And you're like, "No, I'm being."
I'm just joking.
Yeah, I'm just joking. It was like, "Well, you didn't do it right."
Right, you said that too straight.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird.
Is it true that Larry David tricked you into being on Curb Your Enthusiasm?
I don't like to audition. I don't get the part if I audition. I'm the worst at auditioning. I mean, I just don't know how to do it. I'm never myself. It's awful. So my friend Sandy, she was a producer on the show at the time, and she said, "Look, I want you just come over here and just meet Larry. He just wants to meet you." I'm like, "All right." She said, "Look, we're shooting over at this car dealership, and your office is around the corner. So just come over. This would be a good time to come over." So I get to the car dealership, and I walk in, and I see like 6 other black women sitting in this dealership, but in chairs. And I look, and I was like, that's odd. So black women woke up and decided they wanted a Toyota. Yeah, they decided they needed a Toyota today. What the hell? And then one of them I recognized, and I just looked at Sandy like, Are you setting me up? And she's like, "Just don't worry about these people. Just go say hi. Just go on in." So I walk in and say hi to Larry and tell him how much I love the show and the Seinfeld fangirl thing. And he goes, "Okay, here's the situation. You're best friends with my wife, and you're walking down the street. You're out for your morning walk, and I drive by and I say, 'Hey, I know that tush anywhere.'" And I was like, "Well, why the hell would you say something like that?" I said, that's rude. And I just go in off on him, and he just laughed, and he goes, yeah. This is the one. Send them home. This is the one. This is the one.
That's so great, because the show is like, is it mostly ad lib?
It's yeah. They'll give you the story points, and just like, so they'll just say, "Hey, you need to mention this, or say this place, say you have to be here about a certain time." Just things that you definitely need to keep the story moving, but the rest of it is just ad lib.
Yeah. Okay, let's take a quick break. I'm talking with award-winning comedian Wanda Sykes, who has a new comedy special on Netflix titled I'm an Entertainer. Sykes also stars in Mel Brooks' History of the World Part 2, which she co-wrote and produced. We'll be right back to talk more after this short break. I'm Tonya Mosley, and this is Fresh Air. Let's get back to my interview with comedian Wanda Sykes. She has a new Netflix comedy special called I'm an Entertainer. She also stars in Mel Brooks' History of the World Part 2, which she co-wrote and produced. And her Netflix show The Upshaws is now in its 3rd season. Wanda also starred in the 3rd season of the Amazon Prime series The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel as real-life comedian Moms Mabley. Mabley was a fixture on the Black American vaudeville circuit and went on to record comedy albums and appear on The Ed Sullivan Show and The Smothers Brothers. She came out as lesbian in 1921, becoming one of the first openly gay comedians and was the first female comic to perform at the Apollo Theater in Harlem. In 2020, you were also nominated for an Emmy for playing the comedian Moms Mabley in an episode of Amazon Prime's The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Let's listen to a clip.
I'm not prejudiced. I'm not. But I don't like no old man. I don't give a damn what color he is. Yeah. Mom likes them young babies. What about it? Can't no old man do nothing for me but bring me a message from a young man. That's all he can do. I don't want nothing old but some old money. I married an old man when I was nothing but a child. Nothing but a child, 15 years old. That was a curse back in my day. You had to marry who your parents picked out for you. My daddy picked out this old man. Old man. My daddy liked him. My daddy should have married him. They say you shouldn't say nothing about the dead unless it's good. He's dead. That's good. One weekend I said to him, I say, why don't we go out to the country? You know anything about the country? He says, sure. I know about the country. But when I was a young boy, I used to live in the country. I said, when you was a young boy, everybody lived in the country.
That was a clip of Wanda Sykes playing comedian Moms Mabley in an episode of the Amazon Prime's Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Were you a fan of Moms Mabley growing up?
She means the world to me. I mean, I wouldn't be here if it weren't for Moms. And I was just fascinated by this old black woman who kind of dressed like my big mama. And, I just thought she was the funniest thing. And yeah, it just stayed with me. Like even in college, my sorority sisters, they always like laugh and stuff because they were like, remember how, after, a few beverages, I would just turn into this old lady and just be like, come here, girl. Just saying all kind of crazy stuff. And yeah. Yeah. I've been listening to it. I was like, oh, I dropped right there. I can hear it. I can hear when I drop. I was like, hey, mom. It is Wanda. Okay, mom. Yeah.
Can you tell us about the first time you saw Moms Mabley or heard her?
I was a kid. I remember sitting on the floor, in front of the TV at my grandmother's house, and my grandmother's on the sofa, Big Mama, my great grandmother's in a rocking chair, and we're just, I don't know if I think it was the Smothers Brothers. Because it was the Smothers Brothers because my my great grandmother, Big Mama, she didn't get that it was a bit that Dickie would always pick on Tom.
Yeah.
She didn't get it. So she would just fuss like, boy, if I tell you, he was my baby, I would bust his head open. He just so mean to him. He shouldn't, I don't know why they mama let that boy grow up and be that mean to his brother. That ain't nice. That in front of everybody. And so, it must have been the Smothers Brothers. Because when Moms Mabley came out, we were just, all of us were just laughing. And then I remember like watching them laugh at her and going, oh man, I want to do that. I want to make my grandmother laugh like that. This is, yeah.
You know, what's interesting about her is that she was so popular during that time, but she rarely comes up in modern day when we talk about comedians.
Yeah, she should. She's always at the top of my list. Always at the top of my list. And she was so involved, politically and equality. I mean, she went to the White House. They had I guess it was a summit, and she was there big in organizing that. I think that's when Eartha Kitt got in trouble.
Oh,
yeah,
that one.
yeah, I think it was that one. But so she's huge to me. Means the world to me.
You've taken on some historical roles recently. You were one of the executive producers of Mel Brooks's History of the World Part 2. And you portrayed Harriet Tubman, Shirley Chisholm, and Bessie Coleman. I got to know which one of these roles was your favorite to play.
Oh, Shirley Chisholm.
Yeah.
Yeah, Shirley Chisholm, hands down. Yeah. I always wanted to do something on Shirley Chisholm. And my producing partner, Paige Hurwitz, and we would always joke like, "Oh, now it's time to write the Shirley Chisholm movie. Let's, And then when this came up, History of the World, they said, "Well, Wanda, what character would you like to play?" And I was like, "Shirley Chisholm." And they were like, "Oh, that's great."
What was it like making these characters funny? Because, I mean, we don't think of them as funny. They're not funny. I mean,
they're people, so all people are funny. Shirley Chisholm, she was pretty funny. She didn't take no mess. She was good.
Yeah. I heard you say that working with Mel Brooks was on your bucket list.
Yes. But I didn't even knew that this would be possible, But it just kind of like something that just fell into my lap, and it was like, wait a minute, Mel Brooks wants me on this project, okay? And I was like, how did this happen? And I remember back when AFI was honoring Jane Fonda, and I did a bit for Jane on that program. And I remember after the show, Mel Brooks came up and he's like, "You're funny," and he grabs me and he kisses me on the cheek, and then just poof, and I was like, wait a minute, that just happened. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Did that just happen? So I guess that stayed with him. So when this project came up, Nick called me and was like, "Hey, we're doing this and Mel would love for you to be involved." And I was like, "Oh, absolutely, yeah."
You guest hosted The Daily Show a few times this past winter. Was it fun to host that show?
It was fun. It was a lot of work, which I don't mind. But
a lot of prep work?
It's a long day. Like, you get in the morning, and then you, they're such a well-run machine. They know they know what they're doing. And the thing is, there's a clock. It's like a war room. There's the clock, and you just, okay, boom, this time, it's the countdown to, we have to do a show at this time, So you start off in the morning, and they go through a bunch of stories. So what stories do you like, Wanda? And I'm like, "Oh, I like this one, this one, this one." Okay, cool. Then we go into another room with, a bunch of writers, a gang of writers. And then we show them the stories, and then whatever jumps off to them, we're like, okay, so we go back to the little room, and then it's like, okay, the writers seem to like this, so let's now focus on these 3 stories. Okay, introduction. Hello, I'm Wanda Sykes. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute. There's no template where we just throw stuff in there?
Yeah.
Like, this is pretty much it. And we sit in that room, the small group, and we write the show.
Wow.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Eventually, they'll have to name a successor to Trevor Noah.
Right.
Would you want to host that show?
I'm not going after it, I'm not, it's not something I'm seeking, but it's, I don't know. I don't think it would fit with my lifestyle, with my family right now. I don't think that's something that would fit with them.
One of my favorite Finding Your Roots episodes is with you. It's back in 2012. And your ancestry was traced back to 1683, a 1683 court case involving your ancestor Elizabeth Banks, a free white woman, an indentured servant who then gave birth to a biracial child and who was fathered by an enslaved man. And this child inherited her mother's
enslaved Negro.
Yes.
Yes.
Right. And the child inherited her mother's free status. At the time that you found out this information, Henry Louis Gates said that you had the longest continuous documented family tree of any Black American that he had ever researched. I'm wondering, what has finding out that information meant to you over the years as you were able to sit with that?
You know, it's bittersweet. I'm so grateful that I do have that. You know, that I do know. I know something about my ancestors. But then it's so sad because it's like it still, you know, came out of slavery. You know, it's this white woman. She came here looking for a better life, and you know, as an indentured servant. And so we do know that part. But then I have 3 other grandparents that nothing. They were just property, and you know, so it's. Yeah, you know, but then I always say that, you know, because I came from this, you know, these free Negroes, maybe that's why I'm so uppity.
Stop it, Wanda. Wanda Sykes, thank you so much.
Well, thank you.
This has been a pleasure.
It has. I enjoyed it. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
Wanda Sykes' new comedy special, I'm an Entertainer, is now on Netflix. She also stars in Mel Brooks' History of the World Part 2 and is the executive producer for The Upshaws, which enters its 3rd season this fall. This is Fresh Air. Fresh Air's executive producer is Danny Miller. Our technical director and engineer is Audrey Bentham. Our interviews and reviews are produced and edited by Amy Salad, Phyllis Myers, Sam Brigger, Lauren Krenzel, Heidi Saman, Teresa Matten, Anne-Marie Baldonado, Thea Challoner, Seth Kelly, and Susan Nyakundi. Our digital media producer is Molly C.V. Roberta Sherrock directs the show. For Terry Gross, I'm Tonya Mosley.